Today we're going to take a look at the new Honda Pioneer 1006 Deluxe Crew. We'll talk about where this 6-seater side-by-side UTV fits into Honda's current utility vehicle model lineup, and we'll dive into its specs and features. Plus we'll start it up and go for a quick drive so you can hear what she sounds like, and a lot more. But first, if you guys find any info in this video helpful, please take a second and hit the like button. Liking the video, sharing, and throwing a comment below really helps with growing this channel through YouTube's algorithm, which in return helps me create more videos for you guys, and I really appreciate the help. So first up, where does a Crew fit into Honda's current Pioneer 1000 model lineup? Let's quickly run through them. First up, you have the 3-seater models with 4 different variations to choose from that start at $16,699, and then you have the 5-seater models called the Pioneer 1005 that feature Honda's quick flip seating in the back, so you can still keep that shorter wheelbase while having the option to throw people in the back or fold the seats down and have your full dump bed to work with. And they start at $18,099 with 4 different model variations to choose from as well, followed up by the latest new addition to join the family, and that's this Pioneer 1000 Crew Cab that comes in at $21,899. And now that we've got that out of the way, let's jump into some more info on this unit. Now, do you have any options when buying this 6-seater Honda Pioneer? Unlike the other Pioneer models where you have a base, a deluxe, forest, and trail edition models, this model only comes in one flavor, and that's the deluxe version, so you do get the extra bells and whistles that the deluxe normally comes with when looking at the 3 and 5-seater models. Things like 14-inch aluminum wheels instead of steel, load leveling rear suspension in the rear, a 12-volt power outlet in the bed, under dash storage, and the color matched door and bed panels to match the front of the machine. But sadly, LED headlights are not a deluxe feature anymore. Back on topic though, your only options come down to colors, and you have red, obviously, followed up by olive green and phantom camo, which tacks on another $800 to the price tag. Now let's dive a little deeper into the chassis and suspension. The Pioneer 1006 is a long one. Her one-piece frame helps this big girl come in with a 115.2-inch wheelbase, and with that comes a pretty wide turning radius at 18.7 feet, so that's definitely something to keep in mind if you're wanting to use this in tight trails. I'll be flying out to Montana towards the end of this month to get some seat time in it, and I'm super curious to see how this unit feels in comparison to the rest of the Pioneer models once you get them out on the trails, but from my short jaunts around the lot, it doesn't feel that different, which is a good thing. Thankfully, this big girl comes with Honda's electric power steering as standard, and it's the same updated unit that all Pioneer 1000 models received in 2022, and all of the other Pioneer 1000 updates from last year also carry over to this new 6-seater platform, so we won't harp on those too much here. Naturally, you've got fully independent suspension front and rear with 10.5 inches of travel up front with 10 inches out back. And like we mentioned earlier, this does have a fully automatic load leveling rear suspension setup that will adjust itself to maintain a level ride height when you're carrying around a bed full of tools or loaded down with a bunch of people in the cabin. And speaking of the cabin, let's take a closer look in there. Now we'll dive into the dash and some of your controls shortly, as that ties in with the drivetrain segment, but first we have to talk about all of this extra space.
Look at all this floor space. So much. You do aerobics in here. So many activities.
In the Pioneer 1005 models, I could fit in the rear seats, and it's not that bad for a short amount of time, but in this thing, I can stretch my legs out and relax thanks to the engine being further back now, and with that, you now have all of this open space under the front seats for additional storage and legroom. The Pioneer 1000 used to lack severely in the storage department, but you now have your glove box, a little cubby hole beside it, which is pretty much pointless in my opinion, the cargo nets under the dash, which also hide away a 12-volt power outlet, followed up by this space under the front bench seat, and then you also have this tub under the rear seat as well. Plus you can start adding accessory options for more storage too if needed. I do wish they could have found some more room up front though, more specifically for the driver. Personally, after a few hours of driving, I found myself wishing that I had some more leg space to move my feet around. And the dead pedal helps, but only so much with its placement, and this is going to be different for everyone, so this may not bother you at the end of the day. For gauges, thankfully you have the newer display setup, which has almost everything you could want to know with all of the usual warning lights, and Honda Maintenance Minder system to help you keep track of when she's due for her next service. Then you have your gear selector to the right where you select high, low, reverse, etc. and for most occasions, high is what you'll want to run. By default, when you select high or low, it puts you into automatic mode, so you just hit the throttle and go like you would in a normal automatic car. However, if you want to manually change gears via the paddle shifters, you've got a button to flip back and forth between auto and manual modes. Then you've got another lever right next to it which lets you select if you want to be in turf mode, two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, or if you really need it, four-wheel drive diff lock for those hairy situations.
There is a little bit of mud at the top of here, but you can go around it if you want.
Why would I do that?
And the last thing we'll touch on when it comes to the dash is that you have a slew of possibilities thanks to the Crew being pre-wired for accessories with an accessory switch panel to make your life a little easier when adding a light bar, winch, and so on. Now let's touch some more on the drivetrain hidden under this Pioneer 1000 Crew. It's powered by a 999cc Unicam parallel twin-cylinder engine that's also shared with the Talon Sport side-by-side model lineup, as well as the Africa Twin prior to its displacement bump up to an 1100 a couple years ago. And needless to say, with this being used in multiple flagship models from Honda, they took their time and did it right, which is why this engine has been bulletproof since its release back in 2016 and has been largely unchanged since then. However, among the many updates to the Pioneer 1000 platform in 2022 that carry over to this Crew, Honda decided to give us a bit more performance and bumped its horsepower up to 77 from the original 72 mark. And that increase is more than welcome thanks to her being a little larger than the other models with a curb weight coming in at 1,936 pounds. That engine is mated up to what really sets Honda apart from the other manufacturers in this segment, and that's the 6-speed dual clutch transmission, or DCT for short. Now we could talk about this style of transmission for 20 minutes, but I don't want to bore you guys there. However, Honda has been using this technology since 2010 in their motorcycles, 2014 with their ATVs, and since 2016 with their side-by-side models, and they've gotten about as close to perfection as you can come in my opinion, as each round of updates, like they just did in 2022, make them better and better. Has Honda had growing pains with the clutches in these in the past? 100%, but they made mechanical updates to combat this, and one of the best things they've done is finally adding the clutch warning light on your gauges for the Pioneer 1000 models, like the Talon had since day one, so that way you have more of an idea as to what's going on with your drivetrain before it's too late. And on that note, maintaining this drivetrain package won't break the bank to maintain, as you can see here from the maintenance schedule in the owner's manual. This drivetrain setup also allows for you not to only carry 6 people around, but it's also enough power to help you tow 2,500 pounds too, with Honda going as far as replacing the Sport Mode button on the Pioneer models for this tow button, which helps hold each gear position for a bit longer before changing to the next one when hauling a load behind you. And call me crazy, but that sounds exactly like what the Sport Mode button did. Now let's bounce around the Pioneer and touch on a few different things. You've got disc brakes on all 4 corners with 210mm rotors, none of that drum brake nonsense that some of the ATVs are still rolling around with these days. They're helping you slow down a set of 27-inch tall OTR Dirtmaster tires, and if there was ever a machine that needed a larger tire to fill out its proportions, this is it. Here's what she looks like on a set of 28-inch tall tires, but I'll show you more details on this unit shortly. The Crew has the same 7.9 gallon fuel tank as the rest of the lineup, and its bed capacity is the same as well with a 1,000-pound rating. Well, unless you live in California, because California, need I say more? Plus, using the dump bed works in the exact same way as all the other Pioneer 1000 models by pulling one of these levers on either side, and up she goes with a hydraulic assist to make life a little easier on you. Now, let's start her up and show you what she sounds like, and then we'll come back for a few more things. And that's the new Honda Pioneer 1006 Deluxe Crew Cab model. What do you guys think about it? Is Honda headed in the right direction? And what do you think Honda needs to change next to bring it to the next level? There's a lot we didn't cover in this video, but this is only the beginning of many different videos on this platform as I start to spend some more one-on-one time with it and see what it's all about. My time with it was limited, but I tried to get footage and touch on some of the points you guys would like to know, but creating these videos is a lot more difficult than a motorcycle, as it's like I'm reviewing a car. There's just so much to cover in such a short amount of time, and I know you guys don't want to suffer through me rambling on for 20 to 30 minutes. On that note though, thanks for watching and supporting all of this, guys. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.